Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Angel Face Magic Hour. I'm really excited. We're here with another amazing guest, and we're here with Cassidy today. And I just would love to have you introduce yourself to the audience, maybe just share a little bit about who you are and what you do.
All right. Hi, I'm Cassidy Rey. I am a psychic medium and I do Reiki, energy healing, mediumship, and kind of look into career, finances, fertility, all that fun stuff that comes with our magical gifts. And I met Angel Grace on TikTok.
Yeah, you just came across like my For You page, and I was like, oh, I resonate with this person. And there's so many people on there that talk about spiritual stuff, so it's cool to find people that I'm like, oh, okay, I agree with this person, what they're saying, and they seem like they know what they're doing.
There's a lot of bullshit out there.
Yes, discernment is key. Well, amazing. I'm really excited to talk with you. I think it's very interesting, and on my podcast, we'll have a lot of different guests who are also into spirituality, whether they do that for like work or just for personal. But I love to hear about people's like kind of ritual or routine, like something that they do to keep themselves grounded. So I just love to have you share if there's anything that you do like to prep for your sessions, or maybe just in a daily thing that you do to
Yeah. Yeah, I used to be so good with routine and I definitely like lost a bit of that in the last couple of years, but I'm just finding it again this year. So I would love to talk about it because it's kind of a new thing that's really working for me. But just waking up and having like a set or at least one or two goals to hit when you wake up is really massive for my spirituality and just like my daily goals. But I really like to at least once a day drop into like silent meditation or at least like somatic movement or energy where I'm like moving my body, but also being very intentional about it. I found just doing that once a day. Like I know you're on day 77 of your walks. Okay. So like just something like that. Like once a day, if I can get myself moving or stretching, like just before this podcast, I was just stretching and doing some, band exercises and just having meditation music in the background. That's vital for me. Twice a week, I like to sage and cleanse my whole home. And what I like to do when I specifically cleanse is like I'll literally open up my fridge and I'll put sage in there and I'll like thank spirit for all the food and nourishment. I'll go in my shower and just, thank you for keeping my hygiene good and all. So like having intention behind all these things that we maybe take for granted every day, like air conditioning, something like that. So I really just like to be intentional. And then as far as like spiritual protection, I always have to sleep with a seashell by my bed. That is like a necessity for me. Yeah, I used to get really bad sleep paralysis until I started sleeping with a seashell next to my bed. So that's really helped me in my scary dreams or journey.
Well, that's interesting. Was that something like just kind of your intuition was like a seashell specifically?
I was in a really scary sleep paralysis dream, and I had a spirit guide come to me and pull me out of it. And they said you need to sleep with crushed up eggshells and seashells next to your bed to avoid this. So ever since then, it's been like almost a year of no sleep paralysis.
That's amazing. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I'll use like black tourmaline or something like that.
Yeah,
but I feel like it's very individual.
Yeah, like my guide specifically said like use these for you, so I was like, okay, say no more because I hate this.
That's so interesting. When it was happening, was it like very physical, like you could feel something sitting on you?
Right, yeah, when I get my sleep paralysis, it was more before I like had control or knew about my gifts that much. I just like knew I had haunted things that happened to me, but it would definitely be like these scary energies try to enter my chest and like I can't move, but my eyes are open, like I'll stare at the ceiling and then I get like visions of like kind of demonic energies. So that was a lot of my childhood and early adulthood until I stepped into this and it became like a career and actually a ritual practice for me to do, to be spiritual and talk to spirit. But when I didn't have any protection, it was a scary place.
I feel that. So it was kind of like for you, as far as like opening up your gifts, was that something that just happened naturally, or were you kind of seeking it?
No, I definitely just thought I was haunted my whole life. Like, as a really young kid, like I saw a passed over great grandma and stuff like that, like age 6 or 7. So I just like knew weird shit happened all the time. I would have pictures in college of like me taking a picture at a party, and there's like a really scary, almost like demonic face behind me, and it, like nobody else sees it, but everyone sees the picture, and they're like, "What the heck is that?" Like really weird things would happen to me like that all the time, and I just like really hated the gift. I've always been religious though, so I've always prayed to something. And it wasn't until my grandmother died when I was in college that I started seeing like the holy and joyous side of this work. So she like changed the game for me.
Do you feel like she'll connect with you on a regular basis?
Yeah, she's like a daily, she's almost like a spirit guide at this point, but she is like my go-to angel that if I need protection or anything, like she is the one I go to. And she's really the reason I say like my gifts formed when her passing happened.
Wow. It's so interesting to me. I feel like I think, and you talk about this too on your page, like I think everyone can be a psychic, everyone can be a medium, but it's just like some people it's more open, it's easier to access.
Yeah, I also had a near-death experience when I was 1.5, and so I actually do think that a lot of that going to the other side after being born for just 1.5 years really elevated my gifts in this lifetime, I would say. Like I think the near-death experience, it's very much like they say, like you get welcomed by spirit, you see all that, and I remember it at 1.5. I remember these memories. It's just really weird. So I think that definitely helped. And yeah, I think everyone has the ability, like no doubt everyone has the ability. Ask 90% of people, they're like, yeah, I've had something creepy happen to me or something like coincidental, you know? And we all have, it's just a matter of being open.
Yeah. So you offer readings?
Yeah, I do. Mostly since I'm living in Mexico right now, it's mostly online. I love to do Reiki when I'm in person and stuff, just because I love working hands-on. I'll just do it on my boyfriend. But I do online readings. Past life readings right now are kind of my main thing I'm doing, and then mediumship and all that.
Oh, wow. Interesting. So with the past life, do you feel like is it for you, is it more visual, or how does it work for you? Is it more like you see it in your mind's eye, or is it more of like a audible thing?
I think most of mine are mind's eye and clairaudience. So what's the mind's eye proper term again?
Clairvoyance is like psychic sight, and then clairaudience is like hearing, and then there's cognizance, which is like knowing.
Okay, well, it's definitely all of those, but I would say the most, the biggest one I get is clairvoyant. So I definitely like will see things not physically in front of me, like I'm seeing you, but I have that picture in my head. Like it's very detailed. So yeah, for past lives, for example, the audio comes in handy for past lives because I'll hear like Greece, or I'll hear war, like I'll get words like that, so I just write those down, and then that's when I like kind of will go into my meditative state, and then I get visions of like the clothes that you're wearing and what you look like, what's your gender in that lifetime, who you're with, where's your mom, things like this. So I definitely think like the mind's eye is where most of my gifts are coming in, which is cool. I think I like it. What about you?
For me, it's more like clairaudience, like they'll speak to me. It's kind of like I think I'm most comfortable with mediumship. Like the spirits will come to me and they'll talk to me, but it's not always like humans. Like sometimes it's like guides or whatever.
Yeah.
But
it's rarely humans.
yeah. But for me, like the clairvoyance is very present, but it was like a big kind of fear thing. Like for me as a kid too, it was really scary. Yeah. So I'm learning in the last maybe like 3 years, I've been kind of building that back up. So I'll get it, but it's not every single time. But more for in my meditation, one where
like you feel.
Oh, Claire sentience. Did I cut out?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry. The one where you can feel touch, that's Claire sentience.
Claire sentience, yeah.
Yeah, I used to have that a lot, and that
was the first one that opened for me.
Yeah, and it was the scariest. Like bed sheets ripped off of you. Like I'd feel scratches on my back. I had the worst fucking experiences growing up. And then yeah, once I started my business 2 years ago, I gave them guidelines. I said, "There's no more touching. You cannot physically touch me anymore. I won't allow that because it's just too much for my human self to like cope with."
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's like, it's more that I feel the person, like, for example, if you had a shoulder pain or something, I would feel
Right.
the pain, um, rather than like a spirit touching me. But I've had that a couple of times. But
Yeah,
it's more
yeah.
like the person that I'm reading.
Yeah, I say for like I know a lot of spiritual people will be like, well, tell them like you don't even want to feel that shoulder pain and just change it to like a knowing. I actually don't mind when I feel like someone's back pain, shoulder pain. If I am connecting with someone who died of like heart attack, I'm like okay with them showing me physically that pain for just a second because it goes away not that long. But it was more of like yeah, like just laying in bed and like feeling a scratch on my back. I'm like, hell no.
Wow. Are other people in your family like spiritually open? Like, anyone in your family do mediumship?
It's actually funny. So my middle name is Pasqualina, and I actually just found out that the one I was named after, Pasqualina, she was a famous reader that everyone traveled all over the world to see, which is
Oh,
really
wow.
crazy because I didn't know that until I started doing this work. My family was like, we have someone in the family that like people used to travel to and see all the time. So I have her middle name, so Pasqualina. And then my mom's a Pisces, so I always tell my mom, I'm like, Mom, you are literally just born psychic. Like she has those mom dreams where I was going through something health wise that I didn't know yet. And she woke up the next day, the day I like was about to tell her, I was like, I think I should go to the doctor. She was like, I had a really bad dream that you should go check out your health. I was like, all right, we're right on cue, Ma.
Wow, that's so interesting. So they're totally
Yeah.
like open to you doing this kind of stuff for a work.
Yeah, I think for any parent or family, like it's like we do weird shit for a living, right? Like I talk to aliens and spirits and talk to dead people. Like it's something they had to accept as well as something I had to accept. So I think no matter what, you're gonna deal with a little bit of like hesitance or whatever it may be. But I've been really lucky for them to be so like accepting and because a lot of them have had their own experiences. Like my mom, maybe my dad's a little more closed off and logical, but he's an air sign, so it's fine. But my mom, my mom has just always had her own medium experiences. We've been really religious our whole life, so like the higher power or praying or this godly like energy is very much common in my household and accepted. So they're cool knowing that like it's not like I'm doing evil shit.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah, because I think sometimes people's families can be kind of intimidated by this type of thing.
Yeah, I know people like if their kid had a tarot deck right there, they would literally be like, "You're doing Satan's work," and so I feel very lucky in that sense that I get accepted from my family and like that, but not all my family. Trust me.
Well, I'm curious about like for you I know you work with like your guides and stuff. I'm curious how you perceive them. Like, do you feel that they are um like an angel, or like how would you describe them?
Yeah, to me, it's actually funny because I connect with so many different entities, like ETs I connect with, and I physically see the ETs. And then I have one spirit guide, Sobek, who I have physically seen, but the other ones I have not seen visually. It's that knowing part. It's that
Yeah.
audio and hearing. So when it comes to my guides and connecting to like that kind of power, I mainly hear. I don't see them. When it comes to ETs, I hear and see. And then my loved ones who passed over, it's hear and see as well. But my guides are mainly audio, which I know some people can like get names of all of their guides and like get really detailed in there. But I only know the name of one of them. The other ones, I just know that they're there.
Yeah, that's interesting. So
Yeah.
when you see the ETs, it's more of a physical thing,
Yeah,
like
like
in
they
your
show me
eye.
physically what they look like and details of skin color and height and texture and those types of things. Yeah.
When was your first like conscious experience with that?
With ETs, actually, it was recent, the last 2 years. I never connected with that kind of spirit until I started embracing my gifts, and everything kind of flooded in all at once, where it's like, oh, you can also fucking talk to aliens now. And I'm like, ah, god damn it. I was just accepting that I was a psychic.
They were like, first, you're a medium, and yes, you can talk to dead people, and also aliens are real, and also you talk to them.
I'm like, guys, can we fucking chill? Yeah, but I think my first experience I was actually 2 weeks before the Travis Scott concert. I had an entity come to me, and she's basically warning me. And she like put herself in this vision. I see her in the middle of like all these people, and there were people in flames trying to kill her. Like, it was just very like heavy, her being like, there's evil here, evil's going to happen, and there's like destruction, and they're going to kill type of thing. And then literally like 2 weeks later, the Travis Scott concert happened, and it felt so related to that. I was like, I really like felt like shit for not putting anything out, but how was I supposed to know that was the Travis Scott concert anyways? But that was a really scary one. And I learned since then, when you get an ET message, you act on it right away. You put the message out. Like, you can't sit on those.
Yeah, so it was like kind of a premonition kind of thing.
Yeah, they're more like, hey, I need you to know this now and get it out to the people. Or like spirits, sometimes I feel like with spirit guides, I can sit on these things, reflect on them, meditate on them. With ETs, they're like, get it done now.
It's more time based.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting. So do you see them ever like in the sky, UFOs?
Yeah, I'll see like a lot of dots. The UFO connections are like triangles and stuff, but it's mainly like when I'm connecting, astro traveling, or meditation or something like that, or they'll just come to me randomly. But yeah, I've seen like a lot just driving on the freeway and stuff at night and all sorts of shit. I just like double take all the time. I'm like, what?
Wow, yeah, like for me, I'll see them a lot in the sky, and I will have them come, but it's more telepathic. Mm-hmm. Like I'll feel it physically in my body, and yeah, it's weird. Sometimes it's like, oh my god, I feel like I have to shit. It's like moving through my body. It's like very intense.
Yeah, it's very intense.
And I'll see like things in the sky, but I haven't seen them like physically, at least yet.
My friend Jessie, she's on TikTok too, Jessie Sadiq, but she has this really cool like video proof where she saw 3 like green glowing lights or whatever, and then she like gave them directions. She was like, okay, make a triangle, okay, make 3 straight lines, and in like her head she was like telling them this telepathically, and they were moving, and she got it all on video. It was pretty insane. But yeah, like she talks to them a shit ton too. It's really cool.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. That's like a good confirmation for me. I've had experiences like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I think it's built up confidence for me to be able to see the lights, because it's like knowing, okay, this is really a thing and I'm not fucking just totally nuts. It's like, yeah. I'm actually seeing this. And I've had UFO experiences like before I even got into like mediumship or anything, but those were more scary. And now it's like pleasant. Like I don't feel like I interact with beings that have bad intentions or whatever.
And I think it's a good point you just mentioned. Like sometimes you just have to be ready to accept that is real, even without seeing the proof. I think that's what like spirituality is. Like the proof isn't always there physically. It's like this belief, this knowing. And so like you're right on point. Where like it took me a long time to even admit I was a psychic. I admitted the medium thing, that was fine, but then I was like, psychic too, really? I was like, okay, I'm a psychic. And then when I embraced that, like you unlock more things.
I had the opposite. I was like, psychic, that's fine, but medium, that's like crazy.
Isn't that funny? That's crazy.
I was like, that's a little much, but it makes sense. Like I feel, and I think for some people, it's like almost like a dial or something in their energy where it's just easier to connect to spirit rather than like psychic information.
Yeah, I think it also depends like what your mission is in this lifetime. I think we're all coming down here on earth to do different things, so like not all of us need to be tapped into all of it. you know, we can do just what we need to do with one ability, or just, you know, people who don't even say like, would never consider themselves psychic, but have like the best intuition. I'm like, they are doing good with their gifts and they're following that. And like, that's their purpose, you know, like go for it.
Yeah. And not everyone needs to open up like all the way, like to all these concepts. I think it can be overwhelming for people if you're not like grounded and like stable enough.
Yeah.
In
like, I have
yourself.
friends who are financial advisors and they are so intuitive, and like that's how they use their Can you hear me?
We glitched for a second.
Glitch in the matrix.
So you're saying I missed what you said. You're saying your friend uses their gifts through like a, you know, intuition, financial.
Yeah, like you can be a financial advisor and still like use your best intuition and judgment to like not take clients who feel maybe lower vibrational, in that sense of like, oh, are they investing in sketchy things? Like you just wean out, and like that's your superpower. Then you help so many different people with investing money, and you like in your own way you're saving people, and like it's your own little superpower. But you don't all have to be psychic mediums as a career like we do, you know?
Yeah, of course. I don't think everyone needs to do that. It's a little much. It's a lot. And it's like it's kind of like you have to take care of yourself as your job on top of doing the job. So that's kind of tiring, I think.
Yeah, I was just talking to my boyfriend about this. I was like, it's like a full-time job in the sense where like I'm really lucky where like my job is to connect and talk to like spirit and God. That's sick. That's awesome. But like at the same time, there's no separation of like you can go to work and come home and take your uniform off and become your normal person. Like work me and normal me are the same person. They have to be, because my morals and values have to line up exactly with what I'm preaching and helping people with, you know? So I think we have a bit of a tougher job in that sense of we can't take the mask off.
Yeah, it's just so continuous thing.
It gets exhausting. It definitely gets exhausting.
So when you do the readings, do you primarily just channel, or do you use like cards or anything like that?
I always have my cards near me. I would say like maybe 30% of the time I'll whip them out during mediumship or past life. If I'm doing more psychic reading, I'll use them more. It really depends what spirit asks me to do. Like I just kind of let them make the rules, but I always have the cards with me, but it is more of like, I have my notepad and I'll write all the crazy shit. I'll show you a little preview. You ever seen like Tyler the Henry Medium and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, this is like my notebook, like connecting with someone's past life.
Oh, I see. Oh my gosh.
It's just like absolute chaos. Like everyone's in the, I just go where spirit takes me. So
yeah,
a lot of scribbles, a lot of arrows, a lot of circles. But yeah, I think for sure I use tarot and oracle and always have them near me. I think they're good tools to have.
And so with like the energy healing, do you feel like if you go, so for me, like I'll go into past life and like sometimes I could clear stuff out. Does that feel like something that you'll do, or is it more just like giving people information?
I think with a lot of it is giving the information, but I like spirit always.
But that's
leads me
also
back
healing,
right? Like the way I can say spirit like leads me to make the connection of like there's a purpose they're showing me this past life, because we have plenty, right? But I'm not allowed to see all of them. They're only showing me what you need to hear in this lifetime. So you know, if someone's really dealing with like self-confidence or like throat chakra where they're like not vocalizing anything, their wants and needs, or maybe not showing enough appreciation or gratitude for like their day-to-day life, they bring me to this lifetime where this person was like piss poor and literally living off the land and died of starvation. It's like you need to be grateful for the abundance that you have of everything right now. It's like there's always a connection they bring back, because I'll ask them, why are you taking me to this past life? What's the relevance of why you're showing me it? Or it could be like, oh wait, they died, and like that's a phobia, like fear of choking or like drowning, stuff like that. So they always show me the correlation. They wouldn't just like take me there and then be like, okay, that's it.
You were a fisherman.
Yeah. Congrats. You like salmon.
Good job. Do you have any like cool, fun examples for yourself around like any like particular fears or anything that were connected to a past life?
I do have a crazy past life story. I can't say I have like specific fears that I've like had like phobias of in this lifetime. Well, actually, no, but bees, which I need to figure out why I hate bees so much. I know they're so good for the environment, blah, blah, blah. I'm terrified of bees. Like,
Or maybe you had an allergy or something.
well, I was watching Bridgerton, and one of the episodes, like, that's how the son is like scared of bees because that's how, I don't want to spoil this for anyone who hasn't seen it, but that's how someone in his family passed away. And so I was like, maybe that's how I died in a past life. But one of my past lives was really crazy because it was in Salem, and I had a psychic, my friend Jessie, I mentioned. She's the one who kind of brought up, she was like, I'm seeing Salem, but I'm not getting much, but there's something here with Salem. And I was like, maybe I was a witch, but I've never like felt the witchy vibes. Like I don't think I was tapped in my lifetimes like I'm tapped in now. And this feels like new to me almost. So I went to Salem on a road trip. Like I went to Massachusetts, felt really called there. I was even going to move there. I just kept getting drawn to Salem. And I was like, okay, let me figure this out.
That's
so
where I grew up, in Massachusetts.
Oh,
not in Salem, but like right, like in that area.
Such a cool area. I honestly like wanted to move there for a bit, but I realized I just needed to go visit. It wasn't a move thing. And so I get there and I start hearing spirit, and they're saying it's like pretty much like you're getting closer to these things. And 4 days before I arrived to Salem, I felt this child energy, and I already connect with a couple of my kids. So this was a new child, and I was like
a future thing.
Yeah. And so his name was Ben, and I literally was like, who the heck is Ben? Like I connect with Harper and Jack, and like they are my two babies. Like I'm very close with them since 2015. But then Ben came in, and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna be hesitant here because I want to make sure like I know you. But like he felt like a child. And so Ben starts connecting to me, and then I get to Salem, and I just can't stop hearing Ben. And I was like, okay, all right, there's something here with Ben. And then I hear the name Sarah Abbott. And I was like, okay, let me fucking Google this shit because we're about to discover who we were in a past life pretty much. Sarah Abbott was married to Ben Abbott, and they named their son Ben, one of their 4 sons. And I always said growing up, I was like, I want 4 kids, like 4 boys. I want to be a boy mom. 4 boys is what I feel. So I was a boy mom of 4, and my name was Sarah Abbott. And I found my location. I went to my home that I grew up in. I like literally was so emotional. I like filmed the whole thing. I was so emotional. I found my address. I found my home. Turns out I turned in Martha Carrier, which was one of the Salem witches who died. So I did some fucked up shit, right? Like I have no problem admitting that like I was not a great person in a lot of my past lives. And so I turned her in. I also got her family really like abused. Like her sons got injured and stuff because of me and my husband turning them in. And so I go to, because I'm reading all this online. So I go to the cemetery. I didn't go that day. It was too heavy. I had to leave. I was getting a headache. I was like, I need to go. And I came back to say my apologies and give thanks and everything to the witches, and especially Martha. So I show up to Martha's grave, and I brought some salt and like a crystal for her. And I kid you not, it was August 19th when I went, and I look at her tombstone. She died August 19th. And
wow.
It was like,
oh my God, that's crazy.
I think it was like 1792. But here's the catch. My sister's birthday is August 19th, 1992.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah, so my sister was Martha, and I was Sarah, and we have a lot of karma that we're playing out still.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was fucking crazy. That was probably the most detailed past life I've got of myself, other than my most recent one. Yeah.
Whoa, that's so interesting. I haven't I've had a lot of memories, but it's not clear like on names or anything like that, at least to this point.
Yeah, that was the only one I got a name for.
That's crazy. I love that. I mean, I don't love that was your life, but it's a learning experience, you know.
But I think that's, you know what, I actually think it's really great that I'm aware of that, because like the fact I'm healing people now and I'm getting scrutiny for being who I am in this body, it's full circle of karma of like, hey, you once did this to other people, so understand when people are mean to you about your gifts, it's a cycle, and maybe in their next life they'll be better about it too. So I have hope.
Yeah, totally. Well, that's interesting to think about, but that makes sense.
Gives you a different perspective that, like, you know, people can only see as far as they can see.
Yeah, I have a friend that had some memories connected to like Salem too. And I feel like I think it's just a common energy too, even if you literally weren't there, like just in the collective of that energy of persecution, whether it's there or in England or the whole rest of the world.
And they call it like the witch wound, you know? So like when we're scared to come out publicly with our gifts, or scared to admit we're psychics or mediums or witches, you know, it's that scrutiny of like, hey, well, that's because our ancestors literally got burned for it. Like, you're not wrong to think it's a little scary to come out in public about this.
Yeah, and that was a big thing for me. Like when I first started talking about all this, I was like, I feel like something bad's gonna happen to me if I talk about it. So I think it's all like healing to be able to share openly.
Yeah, now I can't imagine not like having this as a job and just like a daily practice to connect with spirit. Like, I just feel so off my game if I'm not doing this. Like our job is also like our practice. So it's a lifestyle, but also that gets draining.
Yeah, I think it's important to have like some things in life that are separate from spirit, but I feel like it's also almost inevitable that literally everything is. Like, I'm watching fucking Real Housewives and I'm like, oh, this is sharing me fucking deep secrets about my soul. Like, I'm like learning about everything.
Enough with the messages.
I'm like, I'm just trying to fucking watch some TV.
No, sometimes I need that. Sometimes I just need like shitty reality TV or like sports. Sports really help me connect to more of like my physical energy than like my crown spiritual energy, you know.
Where did you grow up?
Born and raised in Los Angeles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's LA. Crazy over there. No, I literally can't.
So you moved down to Mexico. Well, how long has it been?
It's been about 6 months now since I moved to Mexico. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Before this, I did a 6-month road trip around the U.S. because I don't feel like I've ever really been supposed to stay in California. I think I was born into it to feel the energy of LA, understand the materialism and all the crazy shit that they do there, and the evil shit too, and Hollywood and all that. And I just never felt connected to there. I always said I could definitely see myself living in a different country when I was like really young. So Mexico has been so good for me. Such a simple lifestyle here.
Yeah. I've been to LA twice and it was like, I think it's cool, like a city, like there's stuff to do, but it's just too thick for me. The energy's like thick there. I can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I love my family and friends there, but like it's pretentious. There's different. It's the grind mindset, money mindset. It's everyone's making it to the top, and like, don't get me wrong, like I want to be so successful in my own type of ways, but I just see a different ladder there. I see it being a lot more of a peaceful journey than the grind where you're slaving away and trying to pay LA rent.
Yeah, it's that flow energy.
Yeah. Like, I can live the life that I actually can afford and plus some in Mexico. Like, it's actually gives me a lot of versatility here.
Do you like to cook?
I love to cook. Like, I just actually, I'm almost a month vegan now, and I've just been like cooking every single day, every meal. I'm so intentional about it now. I love to cook.
I love that. I just was like, let me ask that. So random, but
spirit.
I gotta
It's
ask.
just spirit thing.
Yeah. No, for me, like, I love cooking because I feel like it's an opportunity to, like, you know, bring in energy, bring in love for yourself. Like when you're eating, even if it's like whatever, cereal.
Yeah,
It's
I think it's
still
so
like that moment.
grounding. Yeah, it keeps you so present. Like I literally was just whipping up like 2 different kinds of soups all day today before this. I was stoked on it. I'm really into soups right now.
Ooh, I love soups.
Love it.
What kind of soup did you make? Oh, we glitched.
Can you hear me?
Sorry, we're glitching. Too much energy.
Two spiritual chicas.
Too
This
much
happens.
energy.
I know.
I was saying, what kind of soup did you make?
Oh, I've been really on just like any veggie you can put in there type of soup, but more like tomato based. So I did like golden tomatoes, carrots, zucchini, onion, some ginger, and then I blend all that up. But then I keep half the
Ooh.
broth with the chunky stuff for like a minestrone, and I put some like noodles in that one. So I did like a
Yum.
vegetable noodle one, and then I did like a creamy blended one, and I put some basil and rosemary, and then I get some bread with some roasted garlic and make a little garlic cream on my bread. Oh, so good.
Ooh, delicious.
I love soup.
I love soup too. I love
Good.
anything with squash. I'm about to make an acorn squash tonight.
Dude, squash soup would be so good. I need to find some here in Mexico. It's hard to get stuff on the peninsula over here.
Is it more hot in that area?
It's so hot. Like I'm jealous you're wearing a beanie and a jacket right now because like that's my vibe. Like I love wearing beanies and like pea coats and boots. You can't here. Like you don't even need a jacket ever. It's fucking hot.
Is it on the water or no?
Yeah. I'm right on the Sea of Cortez. So like if you know where like Cabo is on the Pacific side, it's 2 hours driving on the other side of the ocean. Or other side of the peninsula. So I'm on Baja. Like I could drive here from California in 19 hours. But Sea of Cortez, so the water's warm, the water's clear, white sand beaches. It's more tropical, but it's still a desert, but it's really fucking hot.
Wow. Do you feel like the energy is different, like as far as like spirits and stuff there than you find in California?
You know, it's not necessarily like I feel more spirit energy here. I think like when I went to Tulum, I connected with a lot of like Aztec Mayan spirits that I was not friends with. Like it was not a fun time. When I came
They're like,
here,
what are you doing here?
No, literally, they're like, get the fuck off our land. And I was like, all right, sorry.
My bad.
I think that it's more of my spirit here, my energy here, like because it's such a slower life. It's just
you feel more in tune with yourself.
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily like it could be the energy of the place, but it's more, I feel more me here than the lifestyle back in LA. It's just riding my bike everywhere, no car. I love that. Grocery shop with a little basket on my bike and have, like you walk everywhere or you bike everywhere. You go swimming every day, you meditate, and you can do that anywhere, of course. But to me, this lifestyle it's what I need, and it's in my budget because running your own business is not easy.
Yeah, especially when you first get started, it's like building and spiritual stuff. It's like it's on its own timeline. So sometimes it's like right now what you need is rest, and you shouldn't be doing 17 readings a day. And that's hard when you're like trying to pay your bills and shit.
Yeah, I know. I'm so blessed right now. Like I literally have like a month wait list and stuff, but it is like that where you have to give yourself a lot of time out. So I'm like, hey, y'all got to be patient with this, like, because it's
do you
only
do
one
them
of me.
Like live, or is it like recorded?
I do it recorded because I get so many clients, and just because I get like so weirdly, it's easier for my schedule, and I'm always traveling, or like if I don't feel good that day and we have a video recording, like I would feel like shit having to cancel on you. You know what I mean? Like I like the fact that like if I'm not feeling work that day, I don't have to work that day. I love it.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like I think that in some way builds a lot of confidence for you as a reader, because it's like you're not even like literally seeing these people at all. And if you're getting that confirmation, oh, this was helpful, this was accurate, this was that, like it really shows you your skills. I started doing that like when I first started, just doing recorded ones because it helped me like trust that I'm picking up the right information, not just picking up like, you know, body language and stuff.
Yeah. And I have actually never done full video recordings. Like I love doing either in person or just the audio, because I like how we've glitched so many times. That's kind of my like hesitancy of like, I don't want to be like trying to connect to spirit and be like, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm like, I'm already trying to talk to dead people and fucking get my point across.
Yeah, it can be like, it just really depends on location. Like,
Yeah.
because like sometimes I'll get on the call with people and their service isn't very good and stuff. So sometimes it's like, hey, what am I supposed to do?
Right. Exactly.
So, but, and I think for certain people are very shy that they might want your help, but they're too scared to ask. So they're like, let me get a reading and then I don't actually have to talk.
Yeah, and people will be like, well, how are you supposed to pick up my energy or know these things if you don't see me? I'm like, I literally just have to think about you. Like, I couldn't even, you could give me a fake name, and as long as I'm thinking about you as that person with that fake name, I'll pick up on the energy. I'm like, I don't need to see your face, but you can send me a pic if you want.
Yeah, I'll just have people give me like their name.
Yeah, it's perfect. Names, initials, whatever. Like, it really doesn't matter. It's like, you can think about
it's the energy.
Yeah, you think about what an apple is, cool. You know what an apple is.
Yeah. When you connect, do you feel like you have to kind of create a structure of where you're going? Like do you have people send you questions, or is it just like open up and see what, like you're saying before, like whatever's the most relevant?
I think I prefer people to be more, I say the more specific you are, the more specific I can get. Like, I leave a detail section where people can fill out when they have a reading with me. Like, put any questions. Like, if we're connecting with a loved one, drop all your questions. I tend to connect with a lot of people who pass from like suicide or like just like homicide. Like, people don't know the story. It might be false information. So I said, put everything that you are curious about in there, and if they want to answer, they will. You know, say with finance, people are like, I'm wondering about my career. And I'm like, okay, great. I can do this for you. What do you do right now? That tends to help. What do you do for a career right now? And like, is there a project you're working on? But like, they don't have to tell me that. It'll be more detailed for you. Pretty much. It's what people are like, well, if you're a psychic, aren't you supposed to know all these things? I'm like, no, because I'm not a mind reader.
Yeah. And it's helpful to have direction, or else it's like you could pull information from anywhere, but then it's like, what is that even telling you?
Yeah. Like, if you come to a love reading, you'd be like, tell me about my love life. Okay, great. Are you in a relationship? Yes or no? Cool. No, I'm not, but maybe there's two people I'm talking to. Cool. Give me their initials or something. Like, it's just, you don't need much, but like, the more detailed you are, obviously it helps us.
Yeah. Do you feel like, is there anything like that comes up for people a lot? Like any subjects that they're interested in for your clients?
I feel like it's always so correlated. It's like what I'm going through too, you know. That's funny how spirit always works. But I think a lot of it is people in relationships who were very unhappy with their partners. I get a lot of that. A lot of people being stuck in this energy, and you know, a lot of times it's just, hey, these are things that can change if you both want to put the work in. Like, this will be fine, type of thing. And sometimes it's like, you need to know when to walk away and kind of open things up, because you're blocking your blessings at this point. So I think a big theme I get is like relationship stuff with people in unhappy marriages. I get a lot of unhappy marriages.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I know. And that's like, I've never been married, so I'm like, oh, okay, I got this.
Well, and I think maybe just like your nature too, I think would be helpful for them to see. Like you're saying, like you like your days to be flow, like you like to be able to tune into yourself and have that space. So I think that's inspiring for people who are in that stagnant place where they're like, I want more freedom, whether that's a relationship or job, but they're like, they could see something in you that they're like, I want that.
Yeah, but I think what I like most about our gifts is like how we really do. I mean, at least you should take your biases away, because when you connect with spirit, like I don't feel like it's me, Cassidy, as I am right now. Like it's this unbiased higher self that, you know, people come to me like, hey, I am cheating on my spouse currently. Like I need insight on that, or I'll pick it up, be like, oh, are you cheating? You know, like things like that. And they're like, shit, how did you know? I'm like, there's no judgment here. Like literally, I'm not here to judge, because it's just not our place. It's our place is to get you the messages you need to hear. And so I like that in a sense that I take away my human self and become this like spiritual being. Sometimes I black out in readings. I won't even remember what the fuck I said.
Yeah. I can't hold all that information.
We're not
way too much.
To.
Sometimes I'll remember things, or like if I have a repeat client, like when we're talking, I'm like, oh yeah, we talked about this. It like comes back, but there's no way I can hold all that shit.
No, and I think we're all given that like ability of like, okay, you can definitely get rid of this now after a session, because it's not yours to carry. And I think when it comes to like mental health and like schizophrenia and bipolar, I actually think that's just like the part of the brain that wasn't switching off, where it's like you can't differentiate your reality from this message you're getting from spirit. I think a lot of it plays into that.
Yeah, it's like too many things are on at the same time.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing, but it's a bad thing when you're not rooted in it.
Yeah, and where you just don't understand what's happening to you.
Yeah, it can be very scary, as we both know.
Yeah, I think for me, when I first opened up, like seeing, I think was the scariest, because it's like,
yeah,
oh my God, am I really seeing that? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I'll get like a lot of like symbols and like light language and stuff, but it's not a clear like this means this, but it will just be like an energy or something. It just is like flowing to them.
Mm-hmm. I always say it's like a scavenger hunt inside your brain. You get like, they'll just be like yellow, and I'm like, what the fuck does yellow mean? And then you just gotta get these breadcrumbs and be like, okay, yellow. Oh, okay, there's a necklace or something like that. It's not clear. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people who are that gifted who get things that clear in, and like,
and it's practice. It's like the more you do it.
For sure, but like that, yeah, that's a high level of expertise, I think.
Yeah, to know names and dates and stuff like that.
It's incredible.
Crazy, but badass.
Yeah, it is.
I'll get names every once in a while, but it's not. I never is like John Smith. Like it's never a full name or anything. It's usually I feel like it's this person.
Yeah, I have mad respect for mediums and psychics who do that, because I mean, hey, who knows, that might come for us one day. Like, but
yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
Have you ever done like a platform reading, like reading for a group kind of thing?
I haven't done a group setting. I've only done like a couple, like a Reiki energy healing couple at the same time, but I haven't done like a big group of people. And I'm wondering what it would be like. Have you done it?
I have. It's for me, it's like I'll get a collective kind of thing. Right. And then I can pull like specific people, but it's easier with the psychic stuff. Like I'm like, okay, I get we're all going through this thing and, you know, pulling information that's relevant. But doing a group mediumship, I think is still something I'm working on, because it's like so many spirits at once. I'm like, okay, you go over there. I can't.
And it's such different energy. Yeah. You're like, how to separate by color, or like what the fuck?
Like that over there.
Yeah. Because it's true, like spirit guides, archangels, people who passed over who are human, ETs, like they're all a different channel, I think. Like, it doesn't ever feel like the same thing. So if you're connecting to like a few at once, I mean, yeah, like when I've had people come to me who lost like, 5 people on the other side at once, and I'm like, I'm gonna need names and pictures of every single one, because I'm gonna get all the messages in, and I'm not gonna know which one,
like who it's from.
For. Even then, you still kind of mix them up, but yeah.
Is that something you would want to do in the future, like doing events where people could come and you could do like a group.
Yeah, I think that would be a good challenge for me. I feel really comfortable like live speaking, and I want to start doing more like public speaking in that sense. I think I would like to be in person for those things. Yeah, I struggle with the whole Zoom concept, but I think being in person, and especially in a setting where people are like relaxed. Like I don't want us all sitting in a chair being all like
Yeah, you're like in
and
an
shit.
auditorium on a stage.
No, like lay down so I can put some crystals on our head and just vibe. Like
yeah, and I think that is, I've never been to a like a formal reading like that, and I just feel like it's so sterile almost. It's kind of church, same as church or something. Like
I think
you're
it's
up there and I'm down there.
Yeah, like I want to be on the same level. Like I'm not, I don't want to be like idolized as like this like higher person. I find that as much as I love having like a platform with a lot of followers, like I find it weird when people are like, oh my God, like I love you and everything you do. I'm like, oh, but I'm just like a fucking normal human.
Yeah, I mean, you're not like trying to be a like
a Kardashian,
a movie star or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like KK.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's see. We have a little bit more time. Is there anything else you want to share with us about your work, what you're doing currently?
I'm just getting tons of past life readings these days. That's pretty much the current work. I'm working on a secret project, but I'm not going to say it yet. But it's going to be awesome, so I'll let you know when I do that.
Ooh,
But
exciting.
No, I don't think anything specific. I just really been getting in the swing of like giving myself time every day to meditate and move my body. And I've been loving your walking videos. Honestly, it like motivates me.
Thank you. It's been fun for me, like to make the videos, like literally, even it takes me literally like 5 seconds because I'll just do the little clips. But it's motivational for me because then I can look back and be like, oh wow, like it's been this many days.
It reminds me too, like if I'm working or like just laying in my bed and I see it, I'm like, oh, I gotta go get my movement for the day. Like she reminded me.
Oh, I love that. That makes me happy.
No, it really helps.
I'm curious with the alien stuff. I just am curious, like, do you feel when people come to you for readings, do you feel like you could see, I'm just trying to figure out how to word this in a way that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So for me, like I'll kind of see like origin points for people is how I would explain it. Like maybe they're from a different star system, you know, people call it star seeds or whatever. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you've noticed a certain theme with people? Like there's a lot of a certain kind of energy with the types of people that come to you? Does that make sense? I know that was like a long-winded question, but I'm just research purposes.
I'm trying to think because like I haven't really thought intentionally about the pattern when I do connect, because there's plenty of people who sign up for past life reading and I'm like, oh, this is not a human. Okay, got it. Like it's just like it's a very quick knowing. I think the first cue is like it doesn't feel human. Like that's the best way to explain it because we are human. We know what that feels like. Yeah. It's like this vision is from more of a, you see different colors like blues and purples and like these beautiful like galaxy type things. I'm like, okay, this is not Earth. This is not human. So I think that's like a trend for sure. And also I want to say some of the people that I pick up our star seeds are the most lost. The most lost people are the most powerful ones. And I think it's beautiful that they come to us and they can kind of find those things out about them because it's like really just being reminded of their fucking power that they have. But yeah, I think that I actually connected with Athena, like the god Athena. That was one of my
I saw your video on that. That was so interesting.
Bruh, it was crazy. I literally was like, what the fuck? I was like, I feel, bow down. Let me bow down to you.
What was their like, I mean, of course it's like a private reading, but like what was their kind of reaction to that? Were they like surprised or were they like, oh, that makes sense? Like I've been attracted to that energy.
So this was like the first god energy I ever connected to, like a god reincarnated as a human, and she was so sure of herself. It was very different than like the starseed energy or something like that. She literally was like, yeah, like even though, you know, some things have been hard in my life, for the most part, like shit has not been that hard. And I think I just learned my lessons really quickly. I very much feel like a goddess. She's like, I refer to myself as a goddess all the time. Like she very much is like, this completely resonates. There was forget something I picked up. Oh, because the goddess, it was like from Mount Olympus or whatever, you know, how they lived up there. And then there's like those old Converse shoes with the wings on them, like the Olympus.
Oh, the cute, what's it called? I know what you're
You know,
talking
it has
about.
like the wings. So she literally sent me a picture after, and she was like, dude, like I had these as a kid. I was obsessed with these as a kid. Like everything like about like Olympus and like Greek goddess stuff, like I've always been so attached to. And it was just really cool to like have that confirmation. But it definitely was a different feeling where she was so sure of herself. And you could tell in every lifetime, what they were telling me is every lifetime she can only get reincarnated as a woman. And she learns her lessons so quickly every time. Like she has no problem being on Earth.
That's so interesting.
Nice.
It's like, I wonder, like why would they have to come to Earth like after being in that high, like exalted state? It's like they must have had other things to learn.
The connection with her was because she chose to come back because Athena is god of war. So she caused a lot of damage, not meaningfully, but her trickle effect caused a lot of war and damage and things like that. So a lot of her coming back is like making peace with that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy
so
because I know nothing about mythology. I know nothing about like history, like, but I do past life readings where I pick up on like the craziest fucking history. I'm like, I should probably read a book about this.
You're like, let me Google this. Oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah, literally.
I feel the same way, like with history stuff. Like I find it very interesting, but I was never good at school like that, like memorizing things. I'm like, oh yeah, that thing happened with like the wall, and like I know something happened, and I'm like, I can pick up on it, and then I'll have to like do some external research if I'm trying to understand. But usually the people will get what I'm talking about. I'm like, there's this thing, and they're like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, and that's also the perk of it. Where like I'm like seeing somewhere in my eye. I just have to pull up a map sometimes and be like, what am I seeing? Okay, it's right there, like something like that. So the internet is nice to have in that sense of like, where the fuck on the map am I?
Yeah, it's very helpful for confirmation. I get confirmations all the time from like just scrolling on like Instagram, like even an ad, it will be like a message, and I'm like I said earlier, I'm just trying to relax, guys.
Can I just scroll mindlessly?
No.
The grind don't stop.
It has to be intentional. Do you feel like there's any like types of deities or anything that you connect with?
Deities.
Like goddess, gods kind of thing?
Oh, like of my personal. Well, like so
Sobek. Personal.
Sobek, my spirit guide, he came to me very randomly. I was baked out of my mind when he came to me.
You're like, hello.
I was like, why is there a half alligator, half human in front of me? But he's a god of fertility. And so since I connected with him, a lot of people have come my way for fertility-based readings that like I never really like thought that was going to be a path that I took because I had no experience with it. And then I kind of have my own experience with it recently and stuff. And so I've just really been able to resonate with people more. And he comes through because like I just started doing Reiki on a ton of people who like the themes were everyone had a miscarriage. Like that was like I just kept getting women who had miscarriages or abortions or something like that. And so it made sense why he came like a year before, kind of to prep me for this type of work I was going to be doing. But he's my main god energy, and then Archangel Michael is another one. But I think other than
the man, I love him.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Sobek is my main. I don't really connect to the other big gods, I could say, that I know of.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm like, I feel a big connection to Isis. And I love Jesus. I'm married.
Me too.
But I don't like have a I I'm not like, I don't worship. Like it's more, we'll connect, they'll help me, but I don't like have a practice where I say certain prayers or leave out offerings or anything like that. I do have candles I'll put up, but I don't, it's never like a specific protocol that I follow.
Yeah, I think I would only call specifically, like if Sobek just didn't naturally come in, I would just call him in if I was dealing with something for fertility or menstrual of myself, or if I knew a client already had a pre-existing, you know, something. I'm like, okay, I need you to come in for this one so we can help heal a little bit. So
he looks to you like a head alligator or a body?
Head alligator. There's actually a picture. He's an Egyptian god, so you can actually look it up online.
I am like picturing it in my mind.
And he's like a buff man, but like head of an alligator and like in these gold armors. Like he's like badass looking. Like he fucking scares me. He's so cool. Like there's a part of him that I'm like, you're probably a little bit too scary for me, but like I like it.
It's good to have that. I have like some kind of dragon guide thing that it feels very protective, but they look like a Chinese dragon kind of style. Yeah, that's how I picture them in my mind.
I have this like deck of cards here, like the
like that. Yeah, the little squiggly ones.
Yeah, those are some of the cards that fell out before our session.
Do you want to pull a card for us? Or you can also share the ones that came out.
My laptop's resting on the cards. That's how I elevated my
Yeah. I'm always doing something like that. Propping myself up.
Let's read that dragon one here. Oh gosh, sorry. So my ghetto stand here. Okay, so this one that I showed you is called Balance Forces. And it has the little dragon things. Let's see what the message is though, because there's a reason. Okay, so it says, this card invites you to look at masculine and feminine energy from a more balanced perspective. Is the situation at hand on the more masculine side of the spectrum? Can it be tempered with feminine energy? Vice versa. Would the addition of masculine energy bring balance? What needs to happen to form a more holistic and equalized foundation? Do you normally hold a position of one extreme? How might you balance this so you can experience a more optimized state of being? To bring more masculine drive and focus to a situation, for instance, if you have some upcoming due dates and you need to get into action, focus on your goals, desires, and ambitions. If you want to engage more feminine energy for receptivity, that's a hard word. Trust, flow, and surrender. Consider all things you are grateful for already. Feel the warmth, gratitude, and comfort of knowing everything is divinely perfect, just the way it is.
That's beautiful.
Yes, it's like the yin and yang. And this is my Beyond Lemuria deck because I'm from Lemuria.
I was actually, one of the things I was going to ask you about is like your perspective on the Atlantis Lemuria stuff.
Yeah, very much resonate hard with it. I can't even remember how I kind of found it out or started feeling like that, but I connect with so many different starseeds, like Arcturians and Pleiadians and Andromedians, and I really connect and understand them. And so part of me still kind of gets confused, like, am I from multiple places or am I just capable of tapping into that? But Lemuria feels definitely like home.
Yeah. And that to me, it feels like Earth, but like in a different time or like dimensional thing.
Yeah, Lemuria is a little more earthly in a way. And it's actually funny, Mount Shasta, which is like right near my home in LA, is actually like known to be one of Lemuria's bases.
I need to go so bad. I'm like 5 hours. I think I'm 4 or 5 hours away from there.
I've never been there.
And I've driven like through it, but that was like before I got into all this stuff. But yeah, there's like supposed to be like vortexes and
and this
like
deck
in the mountain.
This deck has a Shasta card, and I pulled it, and I was like, dude, I've lived there my whole life close to this energy, and I didn't know it. But it also makes sense why I was born there. I was born very close to a home base. I was born in LA, where actually my last life I was a part of LA too. So I got rebirthed right into the same shit.
They're like, you're not done. Sorry.
They yeeted me back in there.
Yeah, that whole story is so interesting to me. Like, I randomly like was listening. I was driving one day, and I used to live in this side of town that there was like no cell phone service. So I was just like driving, and a random radio station came on because normally I just have music or whatever. And it was like a talk radio interview with this person talking about like Mount Shasta and like the legend of the Lemurians that like live in the mountain. And it was like
Oh
all this
yeah.
whole crazy thing. I like pulled over because it kept going in and out of signal. I was like, I need to listen to this. I like pulled over and listened to it. And then I started having like these visions around it. To me, it looks like temples or something, like a big pool of water, and you like step into the water and the water is like healing or something.
Yeah.
I don't know entirely like what I was doing, but I know I was there.
I love it. Yeah. And it almost feels like it's like an under earth thing. It feels like it's here. It's close, like
Yeah.
in a way.
Have you ever connected with like inner earth beings?
I feel like Lumeria is like,
Yeah.
that's a pretty strong feeling I get. And so I think the closest one I would say Lumeria and Atlantis. I get a lot of, I love for one of my clients, she was a mermaid, like literally a full on, they're not depicted the same as, of course, the movies have made them seem, but she was from Atlantis. And so it's just really cool to connect with that energy and know all these fairy tales that we grew up on are not fucking fairy tales, like they're real.
Do you
Cool.
have like a visual of what that looked like to you? I'm curious if it looks similar to what I see.
A lot of like those swirly, beautiful, vibrant colors is like the main way I kind of explain that as. And I guess more futuristic, but not in the sense of how we see like flying cars and shit like that. It's just clean, and I don't know, the energy is just so different. But the mermaid or sirens also, the energy felt like kind of human, like in a sense where like the emotions were very human, the physical pains and body are very human, versus like connecting with maybe someone from an Andromeda starseed, or seeing that kind of entity and knowing they have different functions of reproduction systems and like different feelings, like their senses felt very human to me.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way I saw, and I don't know if they're mermaids or a different kind of entity, but like what I see it is like, I had a client that it was like a past life thing for him. And he was like this beautiful mermaid, like priestess thing. And I was really cool. I was like, ooh, you were like this hot mermaid thing. But it had it fit. It was like a women's body, with like breasts and long hair, whatever you would imagine as like that mermaidy thing. But her face wasn't human-like. It was more like almost bird-like kind of.
Yeah. I think I see the same thing, but like the tail itself is really like extravagant and fish scaly.
To me, it looks like what is it called? Like a lobster tail, kind of.
Yeah, like where it goes.
It flailed
like
out. Yeah.
That's how I see. That's how I see it too. Yeah, and mine was one girl I did connect to. It was very human upper half, like female upper half, and then the lower half was pink, a really vibrant pink.
That's so cool. Yeah, they look to me like a lobster scorpion kind of thing, like a not pointy, but still goes out. I don't know how to explain it.
No, I'm seeing what you're explaining.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think that a lot of people have, at least at this point in time, a lot of people have that like connection to those timelines. But I'm just like, I think it's, even if we're not understanding it fully, just to have like this like visual memories, I think is unlocking like healing in some ways, even if I don't fully understand what the heck was happening. And
like when we relay these things to people too, it's I always say like, hey, this might not make any sense today. Give yourself some time. Give yourself weeks or months even, because our subconscious and conscious mind they just need time to catch up with each other. And sometimes your soul isn't, yes, you are ready to hear it, but maybe you're not ready to really understand it yet. So you, like my Salem story, it took me almost like 8 months to a year to actually discover and unlock who I was in that life. So, but it was planted, that seed was planted in me, that my friend said, hey, there's this Salem connection. And so from there, you take those breadcrumbs and just see where it takes you.
Have you ever done like a past life regression or anything like that?
No, I would love to like go under hypnotherapy, because I feel like I would say some wild fucking shit. Have you read the books by Brian West, like Many Lives, Many Masters? He does past life regression.
But I have literally been I want to do actually an episode on my podcast about it, because I've been meaning to do like a book club kind of thing, and that book is on my nightstand and everyone tells me to read it.
Read it. I couldn't tap into past lives until I finished that book. When I finished it, I like unlocked a new fucking level of my gifts.
Yeah.
And
there's one he has that's quick. Like about the life between lives. And
I have them right here
too.
Through time into healing and same body, many souls. I literally have them.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, it's so interesting. I did a regression, but I've never done a past life regression. Like mine was more connecting with my guides, and like she helped me get like clarity around that.
Were you consciously aware, or were you like out of it?
I was like half in, half out, I would say. Like we recorded it. So once we were out of it, I was like, oh, I kind of remember what happened. But then when I listened back to it, I was like, oh yeah, there's all this other shit I totally forgot about.
Yeah, I really want to do that in person for myself, because I feel like I'd come up with some pretty crazy shit.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think there's so many things that we can like uncover in that state. But I think we can do it for ourselves. But I think it's kind of nice to have like someone doing it for you, so that you don't have to think the whole time.
Yeah, I think just having the human brain can get in the way.
Yeah, I have some like ET, I guess I don't like the word abduction, it makes it sound scary, but like contact experiences that I want more clarity around. So I've been thinking about doing a regression to see what comes through.
Yeah, if you have anyone who does either like on Zoom, or maybe I can look for someone here in Mexico, but I would love to do one for myself too, so let me know.
Yeah, I do like a hybrid kind of session where I'll take people into either past lives or things like that, and then we'll clear them out at the same time. But I can definitely recommend also the woman I saw, her name was Olivia Estelle. I'll send you her page. Okay. But I'll also link it on the show notes, so if people are looking, because she is in, I think, Tennessee. I just found her because she has like a YouTube page, and she has some cool like videos that I resonated with. But she's very calm and like relaxed, but also very knowledgeable.
Were you like laying down on Zoom, or like?
Yeah, it was Zoom, and I was just lying down, so she could like see my little head in the screen, but they don't necessarily like need to see you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I'd like to be like laying down, relaxed, and just like chill.
Yeah, because then you can really get into it. But it was very physical. Like I felt all the sensations through my body. So I feel like for certain things, it might be like intense. Because if you're having these like for me, it wasn't like a scary memory. But if you have like a horrible death that you're trying to clear out, I feel like it can be a kind of intense experience.
Yeah, I'm assuming. Like my most recent past life, I know I took my own life, so I wonder if they would take me there, or how that would kind of be experienced.
Yeah, I think it depends on the practitioner. Like when I've done them, I just have spirit tell me where to go. But I think certain people, you can kind of give them like I want to look at this, or I want to look at that, and you can kind of have a idea of where you're going to go ahead of time.
Yeah,
which I think is important for certain people.
Yeah, I would love to
looking at
do that.
Really scary.
Yeah, because like when I do my past life readings, like I'm tuning into your past lives for you. I would love to, have one day people working in front of me kind of channeling that themselves. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's really powerful. And for me, it's been really interesting because it gives me confirmation. Like I'm seeing something in my mind and then they're starting to describe it. I'm like, oh yeah, we're really in this. We're doing it right now. But I think anyone could do it. It's just like learning the protocol. But like for you, because you're a psychic and a medium, like it'll be easier.
Yeah,
like for
I
other
just need to
people,
get used to it.
this like more of a step-by-step process. But I feel like for you, you could kind of create your own technique around that because you already have your like ways that you do it. But
yeah.
Awesome. Well, I love talking to you.
Me too. This is awesome.
Thank you so
Shout
much.
out to TikTok. Sponsored by TikTok.
Yeah, shout out to TikTok. Give us some money.
Please.
Give me some money or some more followers who would pay me money. Yeah, no, this was awesome. I'll link all your information if people want to check you out. And yeah, you guys should definitely follow Cassidy on TikTok. You post a lot on there, different videos.
Yeah, so much.
You'll do like people can comment questions and you'll answer them and stuff. So if people have specific things, they could do that or just book a reading. If you want to get serious about it. Yeah. Well, thank you. And we'll talk later.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.